to the 2021 Valley Mentors virtual reception. I'm really very pleased that you're with us today. We have a terrific turnout comprised of our area's most meaningful mentors. My name is Charles Crumpley, and I'm the editor and publisher of the Business Journal. And it really is my honor to recognize the great mentors in our community. But before we proceed, I want to take just a moment to thank our partners. These are the ones who really make the Valley Mentors Awards possible. So special thanks to our presenting sponsor, Wells Fargo, and to our gold sponsor, Light Gabler. Now, this is the second time we've done these awards. We developed this award series because it occurred to us that there are many great awards out there and all honor achievement of some kind, and each one is valuable. But it always seemed to me that there was one important area where we were missing, and that was mentorship. Mentorship, as you know, is so very important. Mentors are the ones who recognize talent in their ranks and who take their time or invest their time really to step in and make sure that those prospects are groomed. And in so doing, they shape the next generation of leaders. Now, I think we've all noticed over the years how successful people seem like they always give credit to one or two or sometimes even three mentors in their lives. And they talk about how those great people were absolutely crucial to their development. So this is our chance to give acknowledgement to those who meant so much to all of us. Now, the following are nominees who were chosen as finalists for our awards for Best Mentors. And they are Paula Bahayman of Mission Valley Bank, Chandra Beaton of Light Gabler, Jonathan Boring of Social Spice Media, Dr. Sherry Corbett of Awakenings Treatment Center, Mark Emmer of Optimize Inc., Karen Gabler of Light Gabler, Yair Hamoff of Spectrum Commercial Real Estate, Senator Bob Hertzberg, who's the majority leader in the California State Senate, Michael Hiller of Hiller Enterprises, Leslie King of King Neutronics Corporation, and also the Optimist Youth Homes and Family Services, Janice L. Miller of the Miller Haga Law Group, Terry Hilliard Olson of Terry Hilliard PC, Michelle Rogers, the Storytellers Project, USA Today Network, and the Ventura County Star, Mitch Rosenberg of MDR Insurance and Financial Services, Denon Simpson of Montage Insurance Solutions, Charlie Smith of Archway Ventures, Have Tripp of JNK Services, and finally, Daniel Withers of Matthews Real Estate Investment Services. Now, I can tell you that each one of these people is really an important mentor in our community, and we're grateful for them. And for that matter, for the nominators, the ones who took the time to submit their application. Now, in a few moments, we'll announce 7 of those nominees who will be given a Best Mentor Award this year. But before we do that, let's take just a few moments and discuss the impact of mentorship and the importance of it within our organizations. So our panelists here with us today are Al Riano, the Senior Vice President and Business Banker at Wells Fargo, and Lee Cannon Alpert, who's the founder of the Alpert Bar and Grant Law Firm and the Alpert Dispute Resolution and Consulting Firm. So thank you both for helping us with this 2021 Valley Mentors Awards, and welcome, gentlemen. So Al, let's start with you. Tell us about mentorship in your office. How do you promote it? Do you let it happen organically, or do you assign veteran people to mentor the younger ones? How does that work?
Thank you, Charles. First of all, it's an honor to be here and participate in this panel with Lee. You know what? I love mentorship. It's a way for me to give back knowledge and experience to someone who's going to benefit greatly from it. Now, in my office, I first make sure that people are willing to be mentors. Okay, some people may not be able to devote time to the mentorship based on their workload or perhaps their capacity. I definitely assigned a seasoned veteran to younger members on the team. Now, my original criteria may be based on perhaps personality, culture, or even specialty. Now, after a few weeks, I will check in to see how it's going. Now, if it's going well, I will continue to encourage it. However, there have been times where some mentorships do occur organically between individuals. And in those cases, I have to respect the collaboration and endorse it just to make sure that the mentorship flourishes.
Okay, that's a great overview. Thanks. Do you now you hire people, of course, do you hire accomplished people based on their track record of mentorship? Obviously, you hire them based on their ability to do the job, their education, their background, all of that. But do you try to somehow assess their abilities as mentors?
It's an excellent question. I do believe that a seasoned person has a lot to offer from their expertise and their accomplishments. And while I will always ask if they're willing to be mentors, it's not something that I can force on anyone. So, a track record of mentorship is an added bonus to a potential candidate that I may hire, but it's not a requirement. I mean, sometimes it takes time for a seasoned person to realize that they want to be a mentor. It's my job to bring it out of them at some point during their tenure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's a good way to put it too. Now, Lee, let's go to you. And by the way, I should mention, of course, as we were talking about a few minutes ago before we started, that you were an honoree last year. And of course, I know that mentorship is really very important to you, and you're articulate on the subject. So let's look at your experience a little bit. I'm curious, did you had a mentorship, or you had a mentor when you were moving up the ranks, right? And tell us how that worked for you. What did it mean to you?
Okay, first of all, thanks for asking me to be on this panel, and I'm honored to do it along with Al, who's a great mate on panels. Mm-hmm. Yes, I had mentors growing up. I couldn't have been successful at all if I didn't have mentors. I didn't know I needed them at the time. Yeah. But I grew up in a very poor community in Detroit. I was the minority in a minority community. And it didn't mean anything to me because that was my community. Oh, I hear some noise.
Okay, yeah, we need to mute somebody. Okay, thank you, Colleen. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's all right. But what ended up happening was I had a 6th grade teacher who lived down the block from me, who was African American, and his son and I became friends. He moved in the neighborhood late, and he would pick me up and take me with the guys, all the guys, to outings, baseball games, football games, et cetera, and help get me through it. When I got to junior high school, I moved into a new community, and it was more difficult for me, the community that was more similar to me in terms of looks and appearance, because culturally, that was not my culture. And so I got suspended my first week of school, and teacher, Mr. Marino, broke up my fight, and he began to mentor me through junior high school, and I did listen to him. And then in high school, I had a gentleman who was a psychologist, industrial psychologist, who was teaching a high school class, and he took me over and straightened me out. And then in college, the vice president of a university at Wayne State, where I went after I lost my scholarship, athletic scholarship because of surgery, to Michigan State. I went there, and he pulled me into his office one day because I was active in fraternities, and I was president of the fraternity council, and sat me down, and Dr. Marnell was his name, and he said to me, "I want to talk to you about a few things." And he said, look, he said, "You're a really smart guy, but and don't clean my desk and don't storm out of here. You got to promise me that." And I said, "No." He said, "For a pretty smart kid," he says, "you do some awfully stupid things sometimes." And that was it. And of course, I had to hold myself from doing that. I was physically used to, reacting, and I did. And he became the most important mentor to me that I had during my college, high school days. For 2 years, I'd meet with him for hours at a time, usually once a week. And he taught me so many things that I'll be forever, holding to him. And then out here in the Valley, Dave Fleming was my mentor, and I can't thank him enough. So yeah, I had mentors, but they're really important because people do not know necessarily that they need mentors. They don't know what they are if they don't have them, and they don't know what to do. I didn't know what to do when I was doing some of the things I did. I didn't know how really to become active in the Valley, for example. Dave Fleming, Hal Burnson, our city councilman, they helped me learn what I needed to learn in order to participate in the things that I want to participate in. So, and in answer to one of the previous questions to Al, we don't look for mentors when we hire people in our firms. We look for good quality people, because many people don't know how to mentor, as smart as they are. But if you've got a good quality person and they care about other people, and you approach them appropriately with it to ask them to be a mentor and tell them what it is and why, most of them will say yes and jump on it immediately. So without mentors, my life would be far, if I were here today at all, and I mean that sincerely from my youth, if I were here today at all, I mean, I owe it to the mentors that helped get me through life.
You're an example of one of those people I was referring to a minute ago. Often we don't have one or even two mentors, but three or more, and you're clearly an example of that. Had several important mentors at crucial times in your life.
I've been blessed.
Yeah.
I've been blessed.
Now, well, let's advance it a little bit. Now, in your career at the law firm and at the dispute resolution firm, let's say you see somebody who needs guidance or help. How do you get a mentor to them?
Well, the first thing is somebody has to be willing to be mentored. You can't force someone who thinks they know everything or just doesn't want to have a mentor to be mentored. So normally, if I see someone that I think could use a mentor, if it's not me, if it's someone else, I'll call them in the office and I would talk with them about certain things and issues and ask them how they're doing, and kind of soften a means to go in there and say, hey, so-and-so, Charlie or Al, at the firm here, they really have a lot of knowledge about this and this and that. Would you mind if I put you guys together? Because I think it can only help you. And then, of course, having spoken to you or to Al beforehand, you'll know it's coming. And then you soften it in. You can't push mentorship on someone, particularly someone like I was, who was going to be resistant to it if someone came up and said specifically, you need a mentor, because they think they're not doing something right. They think they're maybe being criticized, and they're not, and then if it's for me, I bring someone in and we start talking about different issues. And I say, yeah, that's a great idea. Why don't we talk more often about this and maybe some other things? And they usually will say yes. And then we set up a time periodically, maybe once a week, once every couple of weeks, or, when things come up, to just sit and talk and to be able to give them my experience, which, by the way, is not necessarily what they're going to do. And it's not going to be their experience. But you have to be able as a mentor to accept that and realize that you can only give the best advice and information you can give. And that might not be the best for that other person, or they may not take it. And you have to be accepting and willing of that.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. Now, of course, we have to talk about the pandemic, and tell us how has the pandemic changed mentorship in the office? Can you can you mentor effectively now with so many people working remotely? Lee, why don't we start with you? Any thoughts on that topic?
Yeah, it's much more difficult. But there's something about human touch or being in the presence of someone that is irreplaceable, at least to me. There's a feeling, there's a sense there. There's almost some type of personal connection when you're physically together in a room. You can really view someone's body language, even more than on a Zoom call, of course, and you can see how they're responding. So it's much more difficult. But what I have been able to do with some of the few people that I'm mentoring is we do set up Zoom calls, and we set them up regularly. Otherwise, you don't see them in the office, so you may forget. But we set them up regularly, and we talk, and we discuss things, and we laugh, and we talk about social issues and then other things, meaning personal social issues in your life and other things. And, and we try. Is it effective? Yeah, so far it's been pretty effective. But is it as effective as being together and seeing people and then being able to catch up with them either later that day or in a day or two from now? Mm-hmm. No, it's not as effective. You just have to try harder. The one thing I found is that mentoring over a telephone, for me, just doesn't work. Right. I can't see the expressions of the person. I can't, and everybody wants to get off a telephone call, where if you see them on Zoom, it's a little bit different, so yes, it has changed, but it's coming back, and there's no reason to give up on it, because it can work if you put the effort in.
Yeah. Al, how about you? Any thoughts on this topic? Has mentorship been altered because of the pandemic in your office?
You know what? I agree with Lee 1,000% that there's something to, being there with a person, having coffee, having lunch, and having that personal interaction. I got to tell you, I've been blessed with a number of mentors throughout my career. And Andy Wan, who is now retired, he was a mentor of mine, and him and I never met. We never met. 2 years. I was in a formal mentorship with Andy, and all of our mentorship calls were done over the phone. This was before Zoom. Okay. This was roughly around 2015, 16. And he taught me so much because we were both committed. He sent me a Word document that I had to sign saying that, hey, I will be at every call. I will be prepared, and I will be ready. So where, I'm at the other end of the spectrum, because I'm forever grateful to Andy. He taught me a lot about strategies and whatnot. So mentorship remotely could be effective, as effective as if you were in person, if you're willing to put in the work necessary and have the commitment to actually, be there and focused in order to have your mentor actually accomplish something with you. So again, I agree with Lee, but at the end of the day, I'm living proof that mentorship can work when it's not in person.
That's it. So to this day, have you met him?
No, I have not. Never did.
Wow.
Never
Wow.
did. And guess what? When he retired, I called him, and it was sad. I actually cried over the phone with him because it was a forced retirement. And yet I felt as close to him, even though all I knew of him personally was just his photo. That's it. But his words and the tone of his mentorship and the whole theme was very effective with me.
Wow, that's great. So remote mentorship can be effective. That's interesting.
Yes.
So
For me, Charlie, that's a very great example of a rare exception by two people that are really committed to do that. I still, as Al agreed, perceive that when you're in person, you can touch, you can see, you can feel, it's just so much easier. And some people can do it like Al did, others just can't.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can always see the uneasy shift in the seat and things like that you don't see over the phone or with Zoom or something. But nonetheless, it is interesting. Listen, one more question. We have a lot of executives. Excuse me. We have a lot of executives in on the call with us today. Any advice for them? What can you? What kind of advice can you give them regarding mentorship? What's the top thing that an executive should do to foster good mentorship in his or her office? Al, how about you? Any thoughts?
I'll have to give a couple, okay, because I feel pretty passionate about it. But, top executives should foster a mentorship culture in the office, okay? And the only way to do that is really to identify team members that are willing to be mentors if called upon. Okay, then it's to set the proper expectations for such mentorship. I mean, what will the goal be of the mentorship? What do you hope to gain from it on both sides? How long should it last? I think that kind of goes on the wayside sometimes. Mentorship should not go on forever. They need to have sometimes an end date in order to make sure that the goal has been accomplished. And finally, I mean, check in with both mentor and mentoree on how it's going on a regular basis. That's the best advice I can give to top executives around mentorship.
Good. So yeah, check in with them and just make sure it doesn't just go on its own. That's true. Lee, how about you? Any thoughts on this topic?
Yeah.
What advice would you give?
Well, I would say that you have to look for people to mentor, and you have to look for people to be mentors as a senior executive. That should be a part of your role as your executive responsibility, because it'll make things so much better in the office. I do think that sometimes you have to also be consistent and watch to see that the mentors and the mentorees are continuing to work together when they have a need to, because sometimes things just drop out, and that's not a good thing. I can tell you also that as an executive, you may not just look into your internal business to find people to mentor. You may look outside of your business to find people to mentor that can either assist your business that you work with on a regular basis, or just people that have a need. In terms of the length of the mentorship, generally, it kind of works out on its own, what I've seen. You kind of know when it's not. And ironically, a story about a young gentleman who who I mentored, who just graduated CSUN, a young African-American gentleman at the time, who's like a third son to me now. And his name is Keith Weaver. Many of you know Keith. And I mentored him, brought him into commissions on the city, had him at my house. We've spent hours, talking. He's our kid's best friend, our boy's best friend now. He moved up from a broken home to becoming the executive vice president of worldwide government relations for Sony Pictures International now. He isn't 50 yet. And he also has started the most successful whiskey company in the country called Uncle Nearest, which is based upon, he and his wife started that, which is based upon Nearest Green, who was a slave, who was the master distiller for Jack Daniels. So he has made it. And to this day we talk, but I must tell you, it's kind of a joke. Sometimes I now look to him for mentorship on things that I'm doing because he's been so well experienced in it. So it's become, you become friends and you become family and you become very appreciative of it. But you have to look as an executive to make sure it's happening both within your ranks and within yourself, inside and outside of your company, wherever it suits you.
Great. Well, that's really great. Listen, Al and Lee, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your insights with us. We're grateful to you not only for this, but for everything you do in the community, for the role you play as leaders in our community. So we're really very grateful to you both. So thank you. So in a moment, oh, you bet. Thanks again. So in a moment, Al and I will name our top 7 Valley mentors. But first, I want to say that it really was difficult to winnow the list down to 7. We had really many great nominees, and we just couldn't get every deserving person into the final 7. All I can say is I'm sorry. There's always next year if you didn't get an award, so please try again. Okay, so that's it. Let's name our best mentors of 2021. By the way, you can read even more about them in the upcoming issue of the Business Journal. I had to get a plug in some way. So please look for the upcoming issue of the Business Journal. You'll read all about them. But in this meeting, we'll mention some of the things about them that make them stand out. So let's give out some awards. First up, she has extensive commercial banking experience. She specializes in small business development, client relationship management. She's earned a solid reputation as a skilled and knowledgeable trusted advisor. Our first recipient is Paula Behaman of Mission Valley Bank. Now, Paula was nominated by Rachel Carrillo Vasquez, and Rachel wrote, and I quote, "What drew me to Paula was her relentless work ethic, predisposition to understanding a client business and needs, and a willingness to give back to the community." But quoting still, she said, "As a coworker, Paula has always been supportive of my role and my work at the bank. Over the past year, she's motivated me to reach and transition into a new position. I needed a little push, and Paula obliged. I began to shadow her and tag along for client visits and learn about the Community Redevelopment Act and how it could benefit clients." And Rachel went on to say that Paula's door is always open, and I'm quoting again, "She never fails to give of herself so that others like me can succeed. She is a role model, mentor, and a great team player." Now, we know that Paula is well known and admired in the business community, but now we also know that she helps shape tomorrow's leaders. So Paula, you are the first recipient of this year's Best Mentors Awards. Congratulations to you. And would you like to say anything?
Yes, first of all, thank you, the Business Journal, for having these events that help the community stay engaged and active. Second, I want to thank Mission Valley Bank for fostering an environment of fellowship and support. Now more than ever, all companies and organizations need to fine-tune their work culture and values to face the challenges that we currently have. And third, I want to recognize and thank Rachel Carrillo for this nomination. The truth of the matter, for the very few tips that I gave her in the past, I received back from her 10 even better and greater tips about how to improve life and career. And being a teammate with Rachel has been not only an honor, but a blessing. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, great. Well, congratulations again, Paula. And by the way, we will send mementos to each of our 7 honorees, and we'll send those out in the next week or so. So please be on the lookout for that. Congrats again, Paula. Now I'd like to name our next best mentor, and it is Chandra Beaton of Light Gabler. Chandra was nominated by 3 individuals, Jody Torner, Adriana Diaz, and Elizabeth Harrier. Elizabeth Harrier said, and I quote, "Chandra exemplifies what it means to be a true mentor. She has not only dedicated immeasurable time and energy to help develop my skills, but she's shown an interest in my success. Any young attorney, especially a young female attorney, needs someone to give them a chance to learn, a chance to grow, a chance to meet their true potential. Chandra has selflessly taken me under her wing and provided me with a safe place to excel. She cares about my efforts and my improvement. She celebrates with me over a milestone or guides me when I stumble." The other nominators had equally great things to say, but congratulations, Chandra Beaton. Would you like to say a few words?
Sure, thank you. I just want to say thank you to those who nominated me. I feel very honored for the award, and I also continue to be mentored. I feel grateful to the people who've mentored me along the way, especially as a new attorney. My first boss, Barry Reagan, took me under his wing, taught me all kinds of things that I would have never been taught in law school. And I'm happy to be able to pass that on to my colleagues, and also to work for a firm with John Light and Karen Gabler, who continue to mentor me with employment law and civil litigation, and a firm that encourages that mentorship model. So thank you very much.
Okay, great. Well, congrats again, Chandra. And now I'd like to bring back Al Riano. And again, Al is the Senior Vice President and Business Banker for Wells Fargo here in Woodland Hills. And Al will name our next 3 honorees. So Al, take it away.
Thank you. On behalf of Wells Fargo, it's truly a privilege to be here and introduce the next set of nominees. And the next honoree is Mark Emmer. He is the president of Optimize Inc., a growth consulting firm specializing in strategic planning. He was nominated by Yorleni Sapp. In his nomination, Yorleni said, and I quote, "I met Mark over 5 years ago when I became the executive director of Single Mothers Outreach. I deeply respect his dedication and professionalism. Mark brings the best of his knowledge and experience to everything he does. Mark has donated his time, providing strategic planning, counsel, and support to more than 20 nonprofits. While Mark usually works with for-profit businesses, he mentors many nonprofit executive directors who must manage complex organizations with little resources. Mark has also mentored many recent college graduates and other consultants. He has devoted time to help me navigate the complexity of the nonprofit industry, especially during challenging seasons." Congratulations, Mark. To accept on Mark's behalf, we have his colleague, Shannon Hoffman. Shannon, please take it away.
Oops, I was on mute. So thank you. First, we want to thank Yorleni Sapp for the nomination from Single Mothers Outreach. As a firm, we see it as our responsibility to take care of our community and give back. And I would just like to add that personally, for me, Mark has been a really valuable mentor over the last several years. So we appreciate you all creating a venue, to be recognized so that everybody can be encouraged to continue supporting each other. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Shannon. And please pass our congratulations to Mark at your the first chance you get. Next up is an individual who has 19 years of commercial real estate expertise. The honoree is Yair Hamoff of Spectrum Commercial Real Estate. He was nominated by Clara Asuncion, who wrote, and I quote, "Yair loves to share his experiences and wisdom with his trainees, which helps them learn about the industry as they grow their careers. He also makes a conscious effort to give trainees access to transactions that they would normally not have the opportunity to be a part of. Yair pushes all of his trainees to become better real estate brokers each and every day by assisting them with sale and lease negotiations, encouraging them to attend webinars and training events, and encouraging them to go to mixers and events to network. It is clear to anyone who has seen Yair interact with his fellow brokers that he has a strong desire to see his colleagues and trainees succeed." Clara said, and again I quote, "Despite his demanding schedule, Yair always makes time to help and assist trainees with their objectives and goals." Congratulations, Yair. Would you like to say anything?
Okay. I'd like to thank the Business Journal and also Charlie for your hard work. And I, I appreciate the kind words from Clara. And I appreciate our entire organization here. I mean, we kind of built on mentorship. When I started, I got 2 mentors. They were great. They helped me out to be successful. And I want to pass on the skills that I've learned.
Congrats again, Jair, and thank you so
Thank you.
much for your words.
Thank you.
Now, next is State Senator Robert Hertzberg, longtime and well-known Valley leader. Bob is a majority leader of the California State Senate. He was nominated by one of last year's honorees, David Fleming, who wrote, and I quote, "For many years, Bob has mentored hundreds of young leaders from both high schools and colleges, teaching them about government. Many have gone on to staffing positions in federal and state offices." David went on to say that Bob has not only mentored these folks, but has helped educate the newly elected on how to best serve in government. David wrote, and I quote, "I know of no one else in the state legislature who has spent so much time and effort in helping the education of potential staff members. His efforts have been a great plus for state government. The state of California has been immensely enriched through Bob's mentoring efforts." Congratulations, Senator. Unfortunately, his session in Sacramento is running long, so he is represented today by his nominee, David Fleming. Now, David, would you like to say a few words?
Well, thank you, Al. I really appreciate Bob. He certainly deserves this honor. Somebody mentioned earlier, well, I think Charlie mentioned the fact that the problems that we've had in the last year and a half due to the plague has made a big difference, because I can remember, I have an office in Bob's Valley Suite, and I can remember 60, 70 young people from high school and college working there all the time, learning about state government, how to pass a bill, how to get laws changed, what to do with people that need services. And they're all gone. I mean, nobody's been in that office for the last year and a half. So that's kind of a big hole that we've had to fill. But I want to just tell you that Bob cares more about people than anybody I've ever known, except a few like Lee Albert and others. And Bob spends most of his time helping young people in coming into government, learning how to do it. Doesn't make any difference what your party affiliation is. Bob is a Democrat, but he's a pro-business Democrat. And so consequently, I'm really honored to nominate a guy I've known for 30 years who's done so much for the state and for this country.
Great. Well, thank you, David. We really, really appreciate it. Please pass our congrats on to the senator next time you see him. And by the way, I should mention that David was one of our honorees last year, of course. And thank you, Al, for your great help. Really, really, very, very nice. So now I'll present our next 2, or I should say our final 2 awards. And our next one goes to Danon Simpson. She's the founder and CEO of Montage Insurance Solutions with over 20 years of experience in all lines of insurance. She was nominated by Kaisha Terzaski, who wrote, and I quote, "I began working for Montage in August of 2015 as the administrative assistant receptionist. I was 29 years old, a divorced single mother with a ton of debt and fear. I had no confidence, a sparse educational background, no degree." Kaisha went on to say, and again I quote, "For the past 5 years, Danon has been my mentor, both professionally and emotionally. She's taught me public relations and advertising. Danon has taught me how to organize events, how to create a department budget, and how it fits in with the rest of the departments, as well as the company budget in general. Through her continued guidance, she's teaching me how to lead. She is teaching me to use my voice and my opinions, and that they actually matter. She's given me self-confidence and love I didn't know I had. She's inspired me to work hard and to create beautiful pieces and how to give back to our community through her philanthropic work." So congratulations, Danon. I don't know if you're with us. Danon, are you there? Would you like to say a few words?
I'm
Okay,
here.
great. I didn't see you on the list, so it's good that you're here.
I know, I made it.
Great.
Thank you so much, Charlie. You know, and Keisha, God bless you. What a sweet young woman, and such an honor to have her here, and all the employees here at Montage that, you know, I have to say they mentor me as well as a leader, you know, in helping us. Keisha's the one I actually go to if I need some advice on something, on an employee, or how to handle a situation, or what's the beat, you know, what's the heartbeat today in the office? How are people feeling and doing? And because she's so sensitive and everyone loves her. And now you know why. You can see she's amazing with words. And Charlie, I have to say, I have to give it back to you too. In a lot of ways, I've said it so many times before, but I think Montage Insurance Solutions, we are where we are today. And a lot of it has to do with the San Fernando Valley Business Journal and LA Business Journal as well. And we're always so honored to be on your list or to be recognized in this way. It's so good for us. It makes us feel really appreciated and loved by the community that we love giving back to. And we also appreciate you, Charlie, for just having lunch with you the other day and just, you know, meeting with you and hearing all that you're going through and what other business leaders are going through today. We really need each other, support each other. So thank you for bringing us together in this way. Thank you, Keisha. I love you.
Well, thank you, Danana. Thank you for your kind words. And honestly, I'd be happy if I could just keep up with you just a little bit. You're always doing so much. And you know what? I really loved Keisha's line, the one that said, through her continued guidance, she is teaching me how to lead. That's very well said, Keisha. That's really what mentorship is all about. So very, very well presented. So there's one more Valley mentor to thank, and that is Have Tripp, the owner of J&K Services. Now, the person who nominated her is Christy Mora. Christy wrote, and I quote, "She helped me navigate some of the first hurdles as a business owner, as both a resource and a mentor. She specifically moved all of her business over to me to ensure that she knew that I was aware that she was backing me, not only with her statements, but with her actions and her own business. She then helped me navigate through some of my first difficult clients and taught me important lessons that she had learned while getting her business off the ground." She went on to say, and again I quote, "Outside of the impact she has had on me, I know that my team can always call on Have for her guidance and her mentorship as well. When an issue arises at the office, we need another opinion, and we can always count on getting new and valuable perspective from Have that is unselfish and biased. Have has continued to give me great insight into what it means to be a business owner and a mentor myself. So congratulations, Have Tripp. And would you like to say a few words?"
Sure. Oh my God. First, congratulations to all the finalists that are here and all the winners. And thank you to the San Fernando Valley Business Journal. It's an honor just to be here. A long time ago, when I started J&K, I walked into the Studio City Chamber and there was my mentor. Her name was Sandra Froelich, who has since passed away, but there isn't a day that I don't think about her and how she mentored me when I first started J&K, which is a printing and graphic design company, and just helped me all along the way. And it's just such an honor to mentor Christy and her team because, you know, as they evolved and started their own business, it's just, you know, paying it forward. So thank you, Christy and her team, for nominating me, and thank you all so much. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Have. That's really great, and you're so deserving of it. So those are our 7 Valley mentors. Now we're of course a little bit hampered, I guess, in giving them applause on Zoom, but let's do it anyway. So please accept our gratitude for all you do, for the leaders that you shape for us for today and for tomorrow. And congratulations again to all of our 19 Valley Mentors finalists. As I said at the outset, you all provide important leadership. You are the ones contributing your time, your treasure, and importantly, your mental bandwidth to help others in our community to reach their potential. So on behalf of the greater community, thank you. And thanks again to our presenting sponsor, Wells Fargo Bank, and for our gold sponsor, Light Gabler. Thank you for allowing this to happen. Thank you, Lee Cannon Alpert, for providing your expert service or your expert insight. And thank you for putting on a tie, first time in a year and a half. And thank you again, Al. Remember, you can read all about the best mentors and the honorees in our upcoming issue of the Business Journal. And that concludes our virtual reception. Thank you for attending, and I hope we see you in person, hopefully soon. Thanks again. This is Charles Crumpley saying so long.
Charlie.